Thank you for watching our video today. The ultimate goal of our Relo Refresh training this year is to make you better at what you do, growing and serving your sphere of influence and being a successful Cottingham Chalk agent. When you've completed the video, please let me know that you've done so we can send you a few short questions to answer, and then we will make note of that in our training, that you've been through the training, and then we will send you a certificate. Next slide. Our goal this year with training is to help you grow your personal business and your sphere of influence. Our number 2 goal is to help you grow your referral business, and by doing so, make you and our relocation department and the company more successful. And Melissa's going to go through some things on leading RE, bring you up to speed at the offerings we have there, give you some reminders on our Heroes program and our e-relocation system. Next slide. As agents, you are our business partners, and we want to help you build relationships with people who can help you grow your business. These are some points that we have for you to consider. Take a look at your profile on the Cottingham Chalk website. Make sure that you've got your sales volume stated accurately, that something about maybe the ages of your children, where you're volunteering, what your family's involved in. Let viewers see that you are both the professional and the personal sides. You know, if your profile says something about your kids being in high school, but they're actually in college, then it's definitely time to update your profile picture. For social media, tell your audience that you can assist with their real estate needs anywhere in Charlotte and outside of the Charlotte area. Do they already know this? Of course, we've got tips and some scripts for how you can do this on your social media. Testimonials. Ask your clients for testimonials. When an agent receives a testimonial from a client, a referral client, Melissa sends that testimonial to the firm or the agent who referred that business to us. And this is a great compliment to you and to the referring agent when you have been the recipient of a wonderful testimonial from that client. Consider marketing yourself to referring agents so they will remember you when they have another client who is moving to or selling in Charlotte. So think of your social media followers. Again, do they know what you do for a living? They should. Think of all of your followers as your sphere of influence. When I talk about doing 100% referral business, that means receiving referrals from your friends, your clients, your neighbors, the other parents on the ball team, anybody who might refer business to you. That's the best kind of referral business because those clients that are being referred to you have already been vetted and there's no referral fees involved. So again, consider adding people who live outside of our service area to your contact list if you have a CRM and market to them routine and consistently. So make sure your social media audiences know what you do for a living. And tell referral stories. Next slide. Don't think of your referral business as your one and done. Over a decade ago, Lori Halt accepted a listing referral in Union County, and the home sold quickly. Those sellers were so pleased with her that they were comfortable providing references and referring her to their neighbors. As you can see through this chain of transactions, that resulted in approximately $5.5 million in additional business, and no referral fees were attached. Most firms do charge referral fees on reciprocal business for 24 to 48 months. We do not do that. But this is what I mean when I say build your own referral business. And if 100% of your business came from past clients or friends or associates or neighbors, that's the best kind of referral business. Next slide. So one concept is having a referral tree, or think of it kind of as a money tree. When someone tells you that they've referred a friend, of course, thank them on the spot. Keep them updated at important periods throughout the transaction. Just simple things like we started showings, or we're under contract, or maybe we're scheduled to close. Those are great touches, and it shows them how organized and professional you are. But of course, keep all of that information confidential. It could be a text or a phone call that just, I hope you're having a great day. I was just thinking about you and wanted to let you know that the Joneses and I are starting their home search and they're coming in town this weekend, and just really wanted you to know how much I appreciate you. Tell them that your business revolves around happy clients who care enough to refer their friends and family to you, and that you wouldn't have a level be as successful as you are without them. So that's the type of message that you might want to communicate to your personal friends and clients who refer business to you. Next slide.
Thank you so much, Suzanne, for getting us started. So, as you guys are all aware, Cottingham Chalk has been a long-standing member of the prestigious network Leading Real Estate Companies of the World, and it is an invitation-only network for independent brokerages across the globe. We In the past, it was primarily for referrals. However, now there are so many resources that are available to you as a member and being a part of a member firm. So let's talk about how you can share our wonderful network with your SOI. So think about Daniel and how he always talks about us getting back to basics. One of the new campaigns that Leading RE developed last year is an email or a handwritten note campaign, if you will. They thought about different opportunities where you may be able to send an outbound opportunity and developed different scripts or talking points, if you want to talk about it, based on different opportunities. So some of the topics include the resort vacation home, moving season, changes in life milestones, or the holiday seasons. So they took the opportunity to write up a note that highlights the scope of the network, its broad reach, and also talks about the high quality of the member agents. So if this is something that interests you, we have printed out the different scripts and have them available upstairs in the lounge. I also have them available on a Word document, so you can even just take them and copy and paste them, change it to make it sound like it's from you, but it's a really great way to just start off with some easy inspiration to get you going and make some connections with your client. So channel your inner Larry Kendall and think about the forward questions when you are at church, out on the soccer field, just going to different opportunities throughout the spring. And when you are chatting with people who you interact with, ask them forward questions. Ask them about their family, ask them about what they do for work, ask them about what they like to do for fun, and ask them about their dreams. So that could be, do they have a dream of owning a ski property out west, or maybe a beach property on the coast of the Carolinas? And you never know when these conversations may lead to an opportunity here for you in Charlotte, or an opportunity to send an outbound referral for them. Additionally, as you're on social media and having these board conversations, look for these keys. We used to say the 5 Ds, now we say the 7 Ds: diapers, diploma, diamond, divorce, death, and now deployment or disaster. These could be triggers for opportunities for somebody to make a move or need to purchase a new property. So just look for these as you are going through your social media and as you're having these conversations. So thinking about those forward questions and the 7 Ds, additionally, how comfortable are you with utilizing the contacts that you already have and that you encounter on a daily basis, either in person or online? So think about the 3 areas emphasized in the graphics: service providers, personal contacts, and different organizations that you are a part of or involved in here in our community. So do the people that fall under each category know that you are a realtor? Do they know that you can connect them with realtors such as yourself outside of our service area if they have a need? So it's easy to think about your service providers, think about your hairstylist or your doctor, and making sure that they know what you do. But what about your personal contacts? Think about people that you grew up with and went to school with, or maybe people that you go to the YMCA with, such as a local organization. So make sure that these people are aware of how you may can help them. Leading RE developed a list. It's really a two-part. One is a list of people that would fall under each of these categories. The second is a way to interact and engage with these people to be able to share what you do with them. So I would suggest you just taking a peek at the list, because there may be an opportunity for you, or there may be a source of business that is untapped and that you're not thinking of. So I would highly recommend taking a look at these. And again, they're up in the lounge. All right. Leading RE social app. So this is new from last year, and it is very, very easy to use and to operate. You simply go to the App Store and download it, and it's just called Leading RE Social. It provides co-branded posts. It has video capability, and it has industry-focused blog posts that are so easy for you to just pull from the app, download, and reshare out, either maybe on LinkedIn, on Facebook, or on Instagram. What's so great about it is that it's already co-branded with Cottingham Chalk. So when you download it, you need to know that the Cottingham Chalk code is 3619. So download the app and enter 3619 for easy access. Also, Leading RE has developed some captions. Sometimes it's a little tricky thinking about what you may want to say. So the website that's listed there has free filled captions or samples of captions that you can just take and make your own. So I want to see everybody posting lots and lots on social media from this resource.
Thank you, Melissa. Melissa does a great job of making sure that you as our agents are aware of all that Leading RE has to offer. And speaking of Leading RE, I wanted to review with you a little bit about where Cottingham Chalk gets referrals from, our referral sources. And our number one source is Leading RE. So those are broker-to-broker referrals from our network affiliates. And Melissa and I do so much to cultivate relationships with the other relocation directors and brokers throughout the network. That's why we go to conferences once or twice a year. We track their birthdays and send them birthday announcements. Melissa's great at noticing on the Leading RE Insider newsletters when when there are new firms who have joined the network, and she reaches out in an email, and then we send them a little something in the mail. So we would do everything we can to cultivate those relationships so that when a broker in Dallas or Omaha or the West Coast or New England, wherever, when they have a referral for Charlotte, we want them to think of Cottingham Chalk, and based on those personal relationships that we work so hard to develop. Our corporate referrals come mainly through our relocation management companies. As you know, those are third-party companies who manage relocations for large, mid-size, really all sizes of companies. They do that domestically and globally. Fees in that area have gone up tremendously through the years, and they kind of vary from about 35% to 42.5% referral fees. Company referrals are when perhaps Dan or Daniel or Melissa or I could do it as well, offer you a referral from a personal contact of our own, and those are at 30%. Our affinity program, Leading RE Heroes, at their internet leads, and then referrals from retired Cottingham Chalk agents. We've tried to do a better job of letting agents know as they retire that, of course, they can continue to place referrals directly with you, and y'all can decide on that referral fee. But we also encourage our retiring agents to let us send outbound referrals for them. So Leading RE is our number one source. RMCs are our number two, and then the others are all kind of equal in the distribution of referrals that we receive. Next slide. Types of referrals. Incoming, as it's kind of the opposite of what you would think. Incoming referrals are when Cottingham Chalk receives business. So if the business is incoming, then we are paying out a referral fee. And of course, if we're sending an outbound referral, then that broker on the other end is going to send a fee to us. And it's very important to remember that referrals are between agencies, not agents. And because you are an independent contractor with Cottingham Chalk, of course, that does not mean that you can't accept a personal referral. We just need to be brought into the loop, and we need to sign any referral agreements. So even if your sorority sister is an agent in Atlanta, and she calls you and says, I'm referring my friends to you in Charlotte, and will you send me a referral fee for whatever, 25, 30%? You can discuss that with them and accept it verbally, but just make sure that they send the paperwork to us. We need to track it in our e-relocation software, and also we are going to make sure that you get paid, or that we pay them at the end of that transaction, and we need like W-9s and that type of thing. So just make sure that we're always kept abreast, and it's best to do it up front and not wait until they are under contract or closed to tell us about it. Next slide.
So this data was recently released by Leading RE. I'm going to just touch on it a little bit. In 2024, the network closed 10,500 outbound referrals at a 60% conversion rate, which I want to point out, it's really high based on industry standards. So we're very proud of that. The average sales price was $566,000, which I thought was very interesting because it's not very far off from the average sales price in Charlotte. Over $6 billion in sales volume. An average referral fee earned to the network was to the agent was $3,400. And in the past, really 2 years or so, the network has really placed a great emphasis on the global aspect of real estate. And last year, we added 24 new members in 14 different countries and worked with clients in over 84 different countries. So just really exciting numbers there. Map here shows opportunities that we received, essentially where the opportunity or the client was moving from to Charlotte. So you can see a really high percentage, especially focused on the eastern part of the United States. And this information is based on broker to broker, but also corporate opportunities that came into our department. Last year, it was heavily focused in North Carolina with 13, followed by Illinois at 7, and Florida with 6. So those were the highest number of states with people moving to Charlotte from. And again, it's interesting how varied and broad the opportunities came in from in 2024. And this map shows where you guys sent outbound opportunities to. So again, very highly focused in the Carolinas, specifically North Carolina with 26, followed by South Carolina at 7, and then Tennessee with 4. So kind of fun. Primarily focused on just the East Coast, a couple of outliers in the West. One that's not shown on the map from last year was a referral that we sent to Jamaica. So we're getting in on that global aspect as well here at Cottingham Chalk. Now, this is a chart that should look familiar to you. It's been around since as long as I've been at Cottingham Chalk, and every year it is developed by Leading RE based on the sales volume closed in the prior year. So the data here is actually from 2023 because we have not seen the 2024 chart yet. However, I anticipate it will probably be here in the next month or so. And when it comes in, I'll make sure that everybody has access to it. And if you are not using this in your listing presentation or even in your buyer's presentation now, you should be. And you should feel comfortable talking through it. So what you see here at the top, of course, is Leading RE, which is network members composed of independent brokerages across this is just US, not including our global aspect of it, in comparison to the sales volume of different franchises that we're all familiar with. So this is the overall chart. However, say you're going to a listing presentation and it's competitive against somebody at HM. I actually have charts available that will compare just the leading RE network members to Corcoran. And you can see 282 billion versus 20. So, pretty exciting and differing numbers there to show and point out during your listen presentation. And if you are having a difficult time kind of articulating how to share this chart, Leading RE developed scripts last year as well that you can read through, kind of practice, get it in your mind good, and be able to really talk through the data with your clients. So these are also upstairs in the lounge. And this last piece of marketing that Leading RE developed last year is the Power of Connections consumer presentation. So it is a beautiful bifold brochure. We can actually print it in-house, which is wonderful. And it talks about the referral process. It talks about what it means. It talks about the financial breakdown. It is really a very transparent piece, which I think is great. And it also has beautiful pictures. It has testimonials included of clients who went through the referral process and what a great experience they had. So I would highly recommend you to take a peek at this. Because we can print them in-house. You're able to take as many as you need and just start utilizing this and get comfortable with talking about a referral and sharing it with your sphere and your client.
Hi Ninjas, Larry Kendall here with your weekly Ninja Action Tip. Are you familiar with the 6 magic questions? You're probably familiar with the 5, but we've added a 6th one. These are great in a real estate review. And when you're in that real estate review, question number 1 is, what are your long-term plans for your house? This question starts a movie in their mind as they start to fantasize and think about, really, what are our long-term plans? Your second question is, well, if you could wave a magic wand and live anywhere, where would that be? This starts them down a path of fantasizing and thinking about where they could live if they could wave their magic wand. Number 3 is, have you thought about doing something sooner rather than later? Find out if they've been online, kind of looking around at the neighborhood that they are dreaming about. Number 4 is real estate part of your wealth plan. Maybe they are thinking about keeping their house as an investment property, or maybe they're thinking about buying an investment property. Question 5 is, what are your dreams for your kids and grandkids? And we all know we have that little brochure on Give Your Kids a Chance, how to pay for a college education through real estate. We've added a 6th question that I learned at a recent conference from a top producing ninja. She's known for her real estate reviews, and so I looked her up and I said, hey, I've heard about you. I've heard about your real estate reviews. What do you do? Well, she asked the 5 questions, but she asked the 6th question. Do you or your family members own real estate somewhere else? What she finds is about 30 to 35% of the time they say, well, yeah, we have a second home or a resort home, or our son or our daughter lives in another state. And they talk a little bit about that. And then she asked this question. Do you think it would be valuable to your son or daughter if I connected them with a realtor in their area to do a real estate review for them? And they almost always say, well, that would be great. I think they would really enjoy that. That question last year generated for her 29 referrals. 29 referrals. So here's your ninja action tip for the week. Ask the 6 magic questions, especially question number 6. Do you have property anywhere else, or do you have a family member who has property anywhere else? And would they like to have a real estate review? The system works when you work the system.
So we wanted to remind you of what a breakdown looks like for any outbound referral that you send. And so the example provided shows the difference between an outbound referral sent at 30% versus an outbound referral sent at 25% and what it looks like for you, the agent. So we know that you all have great referral contacts outside of our service area. And as Suzanne spoke to earlier, we absolutely support you and encourage you to send opportunities to your friends and colleagues. However, just know that any outbound referral sent, we are contractually obligated through our membership of Leading RE to send off the top 20% of that referral back to Leading RE. So if you send your referral out at 25%, your numbers are going to look different than if we send them out at 30%, which is our network standard and what we always encourage you to ask for. So with that being said, the two examples, you can see the numbers, but essentially the difference between the two would be about $336 in your pocket. And you also receive sales volume credit. So 120% credit because it was sent at 30% versus $100,000, excuse me, $120,000 for 30% versus $100,000 then at 25. So if you have any questions about these numbers, I'm always happy to talk through them with you, run the numbers for you on any opportunity that you send out. But just know that this is what our standard referral looks like. And regardless of what your split is for the company, all outbound referrals are broken down as 20% off the top to Leading RE, and then the remainder is split 70% to the agent and 30% to the company. The only time that that's going to be different is if you are on the contract. So for example, you buy a second home or you move out of Charlotte, you maybe purchase something for a child at college, or you purchase an investment property. If you are on the contract or the deed, then 100% can be credited back to you or go back to you. And we would not pay Leading RE on that. Company would not partake in that. So 100% would go back to you, which is a really great perk. So please, if you have an opportunity for yourself, let me know and I'd love to help you.
Okay, now we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about corporate relocation. Excuse me. These are just a few samples of the relocation management companies that we are fortunate enough to do business with. There are dozens and dozens of RMCs, but these are some of the larger ones and some, as I said, that we enjoy a great working relationship with. Just to let you know, like Ayers, the first one is based out of Pittsburgh. NEI is based out of Omaha, Nebraska. Relo Direct, which is a sister company of leading real estate companies of the world. They're both under the same umbrella. They are out of Chicago. Sterling Lexicon is out of Jacksonville, Florida. Weichert is out of Morris Plains, New Jersey. So all of these do business all over the country with small companies, large Fortune 100 and 500 companies, but companies of all sizes. They do work domestically and globally. Most of them do. One thing that's important to remember is a relocation company is not setting the policy. It's not establishing the benefits that the client is receiving. They are enforcing those relocation benefits. Benefits could change from employee to employee. They also are sometimes reflected of, like a C-suite's going to have a different relocation package than a VP or a young manager, or somebody in manufacturing is going to have possibly a different package and fewer options than somebody, again, at a C-suite of financial services or something like that. But it's just, as I said, it's important to remember that RMCs do not set the policy. So agents will come to me and they'll say, Relo won't let them do such and such, or won't let them have such and such. It's not Relo, meaning relocation management company. It just doesn't mesh with the policies that they are being offered. And as a sidebar, if someone that you know, your neighbor or a friend says, "Gosh, we're leaving Charlotte, we're being relocated to Dallas, and we've been told, I wanted to work with you, but they said we had to work with this company in Charlotte or that company in our area," let them know that Cottingham Chalk is approved to work with almost every relocation management company in the country, and I would be happy to reach out to someone at that RMC to see if we can get Cottingham Chalk and you approved to work with that friend or client. So don't just take no for an answer. If you truly want to work with them, we would be happy to chase down that business for you. Next slide. So why do corporations relocate their employees? Typically, it's to fill a critical business need as a result of new business opportunities, or they've expanded their territory, or they've added new product lines. It could be to develop or enhance an employee's skill set, which kind of falls under the umbrella of talent retention, or TA. There could be a merger or acquisition where they are moving people around, and which makes sense. We've certainly seen that here in the past. And then to fill a skills gap or to implement new technology, they may be bringing in someone who is going to enhance the technology of a company here in Charlotte so that it meshes with the company's other locations, something like that. And again, each employer has their own set of relocation benefits. The policy specifies what benefits the employee will receive. They may handle that mobility or relocation in-house, but many will hire an RMC to handle the move. Again, they're never dictating what the benefits are. They are not just looking at it from the real estate perspective, but they're looking at it from the household goods perspective, the temp housing, the pet movers, everything that touches that employee's relocation is being monitored by the RMC on behalf of the employer. The goal of a corporate relocation is always to get that transferee from point A to point B as smoothly as possible and in a timely fashion. If it is a listing, if someone is being relocated out of Charlotte, away from Charlotte, then there are typically going to be 2 real estate firms that have been contacted. If the transferee is a homeowner, they may be receiving benefits that will help reduce the cost of selling their home. In this case, 2 brokerages will be contacted, and the homeowner is going to interview both. Both agents or firms are going to have to provide a BMA, a broker market analysis, and then that information, that analysis is, once we've submitted it, is reviewed by the RMC with the homeowner, and then the homeowner decides which firm they are going to use. The employee, the employer, and the RMC are all focused on selling the home as quickly as possible at current market rate, guaranteeing a smooth closing. And that helps this employee focus on their new position in the new city versus worrying about getting their home sold. If it is what we call a home purchase or home finding, a buyer that's coming in, you're often going to be the first person that employee meets, and they may have benefits that help them offset the cost of purchasing their home here in Charlotte. So those buyers take more time than a local buyer. And our goal for Cottingham Chalk is always to provide service that exceeds the transferee's expectations. We have a lot of competition here in Charlotte. Alan Tate, Helen Adams, Dickens Mitchner, Berkshire Hathaway, they are all very active in the corporate relocation space. So we have to make sure that when that employee is surveyed by the RMC or the employer at the end of the move, that they give us the highest marks for having been professional, helping them accomplish their goals, and then that gets us more business down the road. Next slide. Challenges. These challenges don't really change from year to year. What is the most important or the most challenging part of relocating for a job? clearly, well, at 31%, it's finding a home. And then obviously running a very close second is getting acclimated into the area. Working with relocating buyers means that you're not only their realtor, but you're also their advocate. You're the one that's going to help them understand the lay of the land, determine the nuances and the benefits of living in one area of town or one neighborhood versus the other, and how that will impact their family. You're also the one that's going to take them to show them the great coffee shops, your yoga studio, your brewery, your church, your hairdresser, and so forth. So you may not have a lot in common with them outside of real estate, but you are their first impression of Charlotte. So imagine that your spouse is being relocated to Chicago on May 1st, and you and the kids are staying behind to finish out the school year. Your spouse is going to be working in Chicago with new people. They've got a new team they're a part of, and they're going to be living probably in a hotel or a furnished apartment. And meanwhile, you're still here in Charlotte. You're ending the school year and all that entails with your children. You're meeting with realtors, you're doing the repairs and doing what's necessary to get your home market ready. And you're also saying goodbye to all of your friends. So it's a very stressful phase of someone's life. You also have to go to Chicago to find a new home, and you may be leaving behind aging parents or have a child with special needs. All of these factors are a part of the challenges that someone who is being relocated have to deal with. And our goal is to make sure that all that is that we can minimize the amount of stress that they are experiencing. Next slide.
So not only is the relocation situation often stressful for families, it is also a very expensive endeavor for the company who is decided to transfer this employee. So the data here is a little bit dated. It is the most recent data released from WERC, and it compares the cost of transferring a homeowner versus a renter. So you can see there is quite a spread there, and the services that can be included in this data could include a home finding trip, agent compensation, household good movers, temporary housing, just depending on the policy. Again, this is an average. And as you all know, it was going to increase by about 2% from 2022 to 2023. Well, now I'm sure 2024, 2025, 2% increase upon 2% increase. So it is very, very important for us to carefully care for the corporate transferees that we receive at Cottingham Chalk to make sure that they have a good experience, and again, foster that relationship with the RMC who is managing this relocation. So this is just the cost of domestic transfers. So think about how expensive and costly it could be for an international transfer. That's just some food for thought.
Okay. So make sure you have time to devote to your client. As I mentioned earlier, these are different than local buyers. Most have already done some online research and they think they know what the Charlotte market looks like. They may think they know where they want to live, but it's your job to help them weigh their options. They could be excited about the move or they could be skeptical about it. They need a lot of attention. Even if they have lived in Charlotte previously or they have visited here, they often think they know what the market's like, but it's your responsibility to, again, help them develop a clear understanding. Communication is always key. We in our department need to be kept informed of your buyers' home finding trips. And at the end of that weekend, perhaps let us know, was it successful? Did they like what they saw or did they leave frustrated? Do they need to delay their decision for some reason? We want you to keep us updated through our e-relocation requests, but also just pick up the phone and call us or shoot us an email at the end of the weekend because we want to share that information when appropriate with the RMC. And if it's not a corporate, if it's a broker to broker referral, you might want to let that referring agent on the other side know how that home finding trip went. The confidentiality is very, very important. We have to sign agreements with regard to data, privacy, and security. And then there's also the part that means don't talk about your referral clients with your co-Cottingham Chalk agents. If we give you an opportunity, that really should be not shared with your peers. Treat that information confidentiality. And the customer is always right, even when they're wrong. That's not just for Relo, that's for all the buyers and sellers that you are working with. Next slide. The NAR settlement has had a little bit of an impact on the corporate mobility, not as much initially as we kind of expected that it would. The Worldwide Employee Relocation Council surveyed a large number of human resource professionals, hiring managers, business owners, et cetera. And they were asked, were they going to adjust their relocation benefits as a result of the NAR settlement? So this first slide that we're looking at here is regarding home sales. Are they going to arrange to pay buyer's agent compensation when their transferee is selling a home? And as it shows here that the highest percentage, 38%, said that they were going to take a look at their existing policies and would determine if changes needed to be made if the policy needed to be updated so that their employee, the seller, didn't have to pay it out of pocket is what they were looking at. Then also creating an exemption on a case-by-case basis, or are they going to allow their employee to use their miscellaneous allowance? Most every relocation benefits package has some, we call it MEA, miscellaneous expense allowance, sum of money, and it could be small, it could be just enough to cover utility hookups and a couple of trips, or it could be large enough that it could be used to offset the payment of a commission for the cooperating broker. I sit, just a quick aside, I sit on an ad hoc committee for the Worldwide Employee Relocation Council. And the ERC, or WORK as we now call it, has members from literally around the globe. There's hundreds of relocation directors and broker owners on that, but also most of the attendees at conferences are the senior level HR professionals who work for maybe Walmart or Toyota, Coca-Cola, waste management, pharmaceutical companies, manufacturing companies. And also at WERC conferences are van lines and household good movers, people with immigration, tax, legal, corporate housing, pet movers, immigration, so forth. So it's a very, very large organization. It was interesting in October that some corporate HR professionals that were attending, many of them were up to speed on what had happened with NAR, and then the others were clueless. So it was really interesting to see how some people have been paying attention to that and others were not. At the table that I sat at one of the sessions, just for example, I had RMCs, I had the HR people from Aldi, from General Motors, from Hilton Hotels, and everybody kind of had a different take on it. Next slide, please. And this slide was regarding the benefits for the buyers. So they're transferees who are coming into Charlotte, for example, and have to find a home. So the largest percentage, although it wasn't much, 43 or 40%, cover the full amount of the benefit of the employee's buyer agent compensation if the seller refused to do it. The second one was they were going to cover a percentage of what that employee was going to have to pay, that buyer employee was going to have to pay. Or some of it was on a case-by-case basis. Some of them were saying, we're just going to pay it regardless, which is what we would love to hear more of. Some of them had a set dollar amount. And again, some of them were saying, we're not paying any of it. And then some of them, again, they wanted to use that miscellaneous expense allowance. that bucket of money. Next slide. To disclose or not to disclose, at that conference, the need for transparency was a very hot topic. Some companies did not understand why we had to disclose that we were paying a referral fee to an RMC. They felt like that should be between the real estate company and the RMC or the employer, and that the employee didn't need to know that, but that's not transparent. And in North Carolina, it's actually a requirement that we disclose referral fees, although I did not know that at the time. And also, as you know, in our buyer agency agreement now, it asks the question there on the first page, are you relocating or working with a relocation company? When we're talking about broker-to-broker referrals, one train of thought is that consumers should know that brokers refer clients to one another. So it should never really be a shock to a consumer who is being referred maybe by an agent in Charleston to you because that Charleston agent can't meet their needs. So referral fees between brokers, disclose them, when asked. Never deny it is, I guess, the most important thing for you to keep in mind. But relocation management companies have softened a little bit on this just in the past 6 months. We are providing them with a copy of our buyer agency agreement as soon as it is signed so they can make that the employer know what has been signed and committed to by the employee. Next slide. These are just a couple of articles that we found. Relocation Today is a periodical, and they have a blog, and it's not much different than what we've seen here locally. Folks who had that lower interest rate were hesitant to move, but some of that is being eased. They are becoming more familiar or more comfortable with the thought of giving up that lower rate and going ahead and moving because we know that they're not coming back. But some of them have demanded more relocation assistance from the employer. And the typical, I'm not sure what source this was, but it said with typical equity and the home of around $147,000 over the past 5 years, many of those relocating employees now feel a little bit more flexibility in selling their home and making their buying decisions as well. The second one was having to do with that hybrid of work-life balance because some folks did not want to move. They had became accustomed to working from home, and then they were being asked to relocate and maybe go back to the office. And so they've had to struggle a little bit with finding the comfortable balance. And so what some corporations have decided to do, instead of requiring that somebody move permanently from Chicago to Charlotte, they're going to bring them on a long-term assignment for maybe 2 years. And then that way, if they choose to hang on to that home in Chicago and maybe just buy a condo here, they would have the option of doing that. So clearly the ability to remote work or have a hybrid work schedule has definitely affected relocation over the past couple of years, but we're hoping that that is quickly changing. Next slide. This is a sample survey that an employee would receive from their relocation management company. Sometimes it's during their move, as soon as the move starts and they've been introduced to the agent, or midway the move, or definitely at the end of the move. And we would ask that if you're working with a corporate transferee, that you let them know, I know that you're going to have a survey at the end of this process, and I want to make sure that I score as the highest possible and far exceed your expectations of me. So as we are working together, let me know what further I can do to make this a more positive experience from you. So we want to always score exceeded or far exceeded expectations. If I ever have a survey returned to me by a relocation management company that says we did not meet expectations, then I have to say why, and I have to show what I'm going to do to train that agent for better service, and maybe I have to remove the agent. But in my 13 years, I've only had to do that one time. So I feel like we've got a pretty good track record there, but our goal is to receive the highest ratings, which results in more referrals from those RMCs to Cottingham Chalk and therefore to you.
Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the in-house services that we offer, and first being rental assistance. So we don't do as much rental assistance as we were for a while. One of those reasons is now because we ask for our agents to be compensated when their time is put in. Cottingham Chalk does offer two different types of services. So we have a complimentary level of service, which would include a phone call, setting them up on a portal, just providing them general guidance, some of the resources that we have in our closet. It would be, just putting a little bit of time in, but not being on site or going to the property and making appointments like our paid service. So paid service would be highly intensive, white glove. You're touring the client, you're going to properties, you're making appointments for them, you're touring them virtually. It's kind of whatever would fit into that realm. We do suggest for a full day, which a lot of times, especially for corporate, is needed, charging $750. Of course, there's some leeway, and it's your time. You can adjust that accordingly, but this is what we typically are suggesting now. We also have additional information on rental. We have a list of local property managers and also of corporate housing. So just think of renters as buyers in waiting, do provide them that high level of service, keep up with them, and eventually a lot of times your efforts will pay off. So next, settling in services. This is a service that is now becoming more popular, seems like, as we have had, as the Charlotte area is becoming much more diverse. Just like I mentioned earlier, like the network is becoming much more diverse. So for example, last year we received opportunities inbound from Brazil, Canada, 2 from Germany, New Zealand, Shanghai, and Sweden. So I feel like that's pretty significant. And so to kind of explain a little bit about why these employees are being brought in, they're typically here for a specific assignment. It may last 1 to 3 years, maybe be part of a team, learn about the culture, learn about what happens here at the Charlotte area facility. There's lots of various reasons, and people who are being brought in for these temporary assignments could be a family, it could be an individual. We've seen lots of variety. A lot of times they are going to be renting. So we do need somebody who is comfortable with holding their hand a lot more, really connecting them with some of our leasing companies who are experienced in working with expats, providing that specific documentation. Additional services may be helping them get set up for a social security appointment or a driver's license appointment, their banking information, schools, everything that would be important to somebody that's relocating here, but on the next level. And Suzanne and I have spent a lot of time developing a presentation. It's a PowerPoint presentation that is for the transferee, but it's also for our agents. And it goes over a lot of this information that will help them become acclimated to our community. And so if this is something that you're interested in, maybe you have a heart for it, please let us know. These clients are just very loyal. They're very appreciative typically, because a lot of times you are the first person that they've met outside of their office. So if you have an interest in this, please let us know. We'd love to talk with you more about it and do a little bit of training with you to be a part of our Settling In Services, our destination service provider team. And our affinity program that we offer is it was developed by Leading RE really right before 2020, it was called Military on the Move. And then after COVID happened, they rebranded it to be called Leading RE Heroes and include first responders, who were so pertinent during that time. So if you know someone who is active duty, retired military, a wounded warrior, honorably discharged, an active reservist, part of the Department of Defense, or a first responder, they could be eligible to receive a rebate either on the buy side of a transaction or a reduction in the commission for listing. And you have to really think about this program as a way to say thank you, a way to give back, a way to grow your business. Or in a competitive situation, you can say, hey, if you say you notice a flag or something in the house when you're in a listing presentation, it's competitive, you can say, hey, Cottingham Chalk offers a great rebate program and it's called Heroes. And you can talk with them about that. So if this is something that's sounds interesting to you, you'd like to offer it, please let us know. I think a lot of our Cottingham Chalk agents already have been through the training, but just remember to use this. It's a really great tool. And Suzanne and I are always happy to talk through it again, just as a refresher at any point if you have an opportunity come up. So we have mentioned earlier our e-relocation software. This is our CRM, if you will. It's the management software system that we use to track all the referrals that go through Cottingham Chalk, both inbound and outbound referrals that go through relocation, referrals that were generated from our agents. Anything that has to do with a referral goes through the software. And so if you would like to place a referral, you can do that anytime because we have a link under our signature and it says click here to send an outbound referral, and it will take you to a web page that you can fill out any and all information about your outbound referral client. When you hit submit, it will come to Suzanne and I. I will typically call you after the fact, confirm information before I, in turn, will go and research and place the referral for you. So that's for sending an outbound referral. Now, if you have received an opportunity from us, then you will receive an email right into your inbox that will request an update for you. So it's hard to tell that this link when I highlighted it, but it should be blue. And if you click that link, it will prompt some questions. You'll answer those, hit submit. It will come right into the software and we will read it and either send it out to the source of business or just add it to the file, depending. So this is what the email will look like. However, if you feel like you are just bombarded with emails and you would rather use an app, eRelocation developed an app last year and it looks like this, and it's just eRelocation. It's your same login credentials that you have access to through the website, and it's just all referrals that you have from our department will be housed in the app, and you can do all your updates through that. Super easy, same process, but everything's in one spot versus having to dig through emails. So if you have questions about that, let me know. I'll be happy to help you download it as well.
Okay, we're almost done, so thank you for your time. What are the qualifications for receiving referral opportunities? You have to be a full-time agent, not just an active licensee, but you really need to be active out there in the marketplace working with buyers and sellers. You have to have a minimum of 12 months experience and have closed, it says, or have closed 6 transactions, because you might have 12 months experience but not closed anything, just work with some buyers or renters. So we really need to show, again, that you're very active, representing both buyers and sellers, that you've developed strong knowledge of the market across all price ranges and areas. Very little of our business is done in the 28210 or 28211 zip code as far as relocation and referrals are concerned. We see a lot in Huntersville, a lot in Fort Mill, Indian Trail. We're more in Belmont, just all over the market. So we're not doing referrals in the areas that are immediately around our firm. We also want to see you in the office. We want to see you at sales meetings. We want to know that you've taken this relocation training. Any master sessions that Daniel and Heather provide, and any other professional development opportunities. We need to know that you're actively doing all those things. And of course, a positive attitude and a willingness and lots of patience to work with our clients is very important to us as well. So every effort that Melissa and I receive through our department, every referral, we give it to who at the time we feel like is best suited to meet the needs of the referral client. For example, if somebody who wants to look in Huntersville, we'll go in MLS and see which agents at Cottingham Chalk have most recently and have a higher number of closings there, or in Fort Mill, or if somebody's looking at a specific neighborhood, possibly Indian Trail or Mint Hill, will say, well, who is sold there? So we don't pass out referrals on a rotational basis. We really do want to make sure that you're experienced in the areas or in broad areas that the client is looking to buy or sell. And again, that positive attitude, keeping our e-relocation update request answered, and just participating in our outbound referrals, sending outbound referrals and getting those closed is also imperative. Next slide. John and Dan started our relocation department almost within a year or two after founding the company. And so our department's always played a critical role in the overall success. And we've helped agents build their business, and certainly we could not do our job without you, and you're so valuable to us. Our membership in the Leading RE Network is also one of our partners and very valuable to us. We want to generate referrals that will help you build your business, as we stated at the beginning. We want to convert all referral opportunities, both incoming and outgoing, to closed transactions. And we want to be the experts in Charlotte for handling referred buyers and sellers across the greater Charlotte region. We want people to think of us when they are thinking of Cottingham Chalk. So thank you for your time and your video. This is our first recorded video of Relo Refresh, and we hope that you have found it valuable. Let us know that you've completed the video, and we'll send you an email with just a few questions, review questions, and then we will send you a certificate. So again, from both Melissa and I, and from Daniel and Dan too, they would appreciate your support of our department, and we appreciate your time today. Thank you.
And last but not least, we want to say a huge congratulations and again, thank you to all of our agents for making 2024 truly a fantastic year in relocation, and especially through our Leading RE network. We had fantastic sales volume. We had fantastic numbers for outbound referrals, and as a result, we were actually nominated for 4 different awards at the annual conference in Vegas. And just to be nominated for these awards, you have to be the top 5 of your size category, and it truly is a huge honor. And so again, just thank you so much for making this possible for Suzanne and I. So thank you so much, and look for the email with the questions.